My fresh prayer. Somebody already making racist jokes. How dare you? I would never say such a thing. You guys aren't going to get me again with it. The giggles like that that was a culmination of the whole show. The absurdity of the world got to me at the end of the show today, and I just had a good giggle. It's been a while since I had a good out of control giggle like that, so maybe I needed it. Ooh, Lord. It was funny though. I'll tell you that damn much. Let's give YouTube time to send out all the batches of. It's so weird how they do it. You can tell they do it in like chunks. Turned out to be a good episode. That's all that matters. You only get the notifications like 70% of the time. That sounds about right. Hello, as you filter in. Welcome. Good evening. Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Polish off all the donuts. We did. We only had 6 donuts. I think we had 3 apiece, and I think that's where it landed. Think that's where it landed. Can't keep up with all the content. That's the idea. Too much goddamn content for you to even consume. Don't let me stop you from watching Tango and Cash. Paul, hello. You're presented with a button. Each push costs a year of your life, and each time you get $500,000. How many times do you push it? 0. 0 times. If it was like $10 million to press, I'd probably press it once. But for $500,000, nah. How easy is it to find new viewers generally? Not. Paul, were you a good student? Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I wasn't like top of my class or whatever ever, but I always did okay. I had one of my report cards from back when I was in school, and I got A's and B's. So I did pretty good, I think, in school. Ever a teacher's pet? Kinda, yeah, like this teacher that I was in love with in the 8th grade. She was my 7th and 8th grade teacher. She was fresh out of high school. Or fresh out of college. Whatever, same difference. And, yeah. It was like her first teaching gig, and I was in love with her. So I had my desk set next to hers, not because I was in trouble, but because I was the teacher's aide. I passed out pencils just so I could sit near to her and smell her fucking perfume, dude. Yep. Teacher simp, yep. That was me. Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, dude, I was in fucking 8th grade. What are you gonna do?
fucking teachers, you know, they lean over your little desk.
They do. She always smelled good. That's what started it with me. She smelled all, I don't know, like a dessert or something all the time.
Like a snack.
Yeah, like a snack.
That's the new lingo now.
Like a Cinnabon. Oh yeah, you smell like a snack.
Are you looking like a snack?
Oh. Let's see the lingo. Looking like a whole ass snack. Had a hot teacher in 5th grade. I looked her up recently. Total MILF, debating on whether to message her. I mean, come on, dude. The chances of your teacher being in a position where she's gonna like bang one of her ex 5th grade students. I mean, come on. That's probably not gonna happen.
You don't want her remembering you in 5th grade.
Yeah, dude. That's not a good way to get down the pants, you know? Remember me? It's little Billy. Wanna fuck? It's like, no. I bumped into that teacher years later. This is after I'd moved to Arizona and then moved back. And she popped into my Starbucks one time and recognized me. And I could see the disappointment in her eyes. She's like, oh, you ended up at Starbucks, huh? Oh. She didn't say that. You know, she was nice, but I don't think I lived up to what she wanted me to.
Right, asbestos.
The screen, it'll come back. Don't worry. It was my bad. That was my bad. Everybody refresh. It's the most trouble you got in at school. The closest I came to getting suspended, there were 2 incidents. One incident, I got caught smoking a cigarette on campus. And that was just dumb. That was just me feeling like invincible. You know, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but Fat Richard, the security guy, caught me smoking cigarettes on campus. And I almost got busted for that, but I got off with a warning on that one. And then they, like, a bunch of the administration wanted to suspend me and my friends for trying to start the CCC. That little stunt almost got me banned. The Caucasian Culture Club. That was not. We thought it was funny, but the administration did not think it was funny. Thank God you're streaming. Tired of fighting incrementalism BS people all day. Just stop. You ain't gonna fucking convince them. There's no point now.
Hey, Dynor!
What? Did you see a kitty? Did you see a kitty over there? What'd you see?
Thank you for paying your dues, asbestos.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the borts, Tucker.
Yeah, bort me up. No, I mean I'm the worst person to take that advice from, though. To tell you to like just shine it on, because I don't do that. I get fucking sucked into dumbass arguments all the time. I really want to pick one with TJ. I've been really like trying to hold back picking an argument with TJ, because I really don't even want to argue with TJ on one level, but on another level, there's part of me that just wants to.
Maybe he'll invite you to do it on on Abandoned Hope.
Dude, his Twitter. I'll see his Twitter, and I'm just like, Nope, nope, no, no, no. I don't want to get in an argument. I'm not going to get in an argument. I'm not going to do it. I don't want an argument.
You were arguing with TJ Squid?
Oh, she was arguing with TJ. Whoops. Well. I don't know, man. Like I heard within some feedback within the community that I was trying to interject my politics too much and stuff. And so and honestly, I wanted to take a break from it anyway. And so I'm not doing that as much on the shows anymore. I'm kind of letting the shows be that when they are that, you know. They go there, then I'll go there, but if they don't, then I won't. But man, it's tough. Oh man, it's tough. I'm just in such like it's just two different headspaces. That's all it is. I'm just in a different headspace than TJ is politically, and you know, I want to argue. It's like I feel like almost like he's forgotten that we live in a country where almost unlimited money is made every goddamn day. He's talking about like how disastrous it would be to roll out a $15 minimum wage, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess if you just rolled it out with no supporting legislation, then yeah, but how about drawing down military spending to provide subsidies to small businesses to make their payroll? And how about zero interest or 1% interest government-backed loans for small business owners to fill the gaps of any company that can't make the profit margin of paying their fucking workers a living wage? You know, like, just because that's not going to happen doesn't mean that shouldn't be what we're demanding. We shouldn't be making excuses for politicians to take fucking forever to get people their help.
You know what the government really needs? A goddamn army of accountants.
They have that.
Well, they need to use them.
Well, they use them on us. They use their accountants on us to make sure that we're paying every penny of tax. We ain't got fucking 5 years. People can't wait. By the time that 5 years happens, the problem with a 5-year rollout plan for an increase from $7.50 effective minimum wage to 15 is that during that 5 years, slowly but surely, inflation will gobble up the gains for people. And by the time we get to 15 for people in 5 years, it'll be closer to like $9 an hour. It'll be like $1 an hour raise instead of an actual substantive raise. Like, there needs to be some legislation to provide payroll relief to small businesses so they can get on their feet and get in the routine and get their profit margin and fucking order so that they can pay the people that fucking work there a living wage. And then wages need to be tied to fucking productivity and inflation. Period. And any leftist that's making an argument for why that can't be done or how that needs to be spread out over 5 or 10 years is doing the fucking other side's job for them. Just stymieing any kind of fucking pressure that we might put on these people. And it just needs to be constant. It needs to be constant, constant, constant. I keep seeing like people tweeting like, absent a strong labor movement, you know, this is $15 an hour thing is a good step. And I'm like, what do you mean, leftist, absent a strong labor movement? Why aren't you arguing for that? Why have we just acquiesced that that's never going to happen? Like, get behind it. Get on board with it. How about, you know what would be better than a $15 minimum wage spread out over small increases over the next 5 years? A strong labor movement where people didn't have to fucking take whatever was given them. Where they could bargain for their wages and make sure that they were getting a fucking sufficient piece of the pie for doing all the labor. Like, where? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get this, like, I don't know. This happened during fucking Obama's presidency too. It's like the left started making arguments from the center right. Started talking about how, austerity was okay and how it's okay to take forever to get people the help they need in a country that's just churning out billions and billions and billions of dollars of net worth. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I don't think TJ's being dishonest. I don't want to accuse him of that. It's just a tactics disagreement. It's like he thinks that because something can't be done or won't be done, that it shouldn't be vigorously pursued. And I don't agree that. I don't agree with that. Like I think that there should be constant pressure from people that think of themselves as leftists on politicians. Never settle. They've gotten so fucking lazy and so used to being part of the center mass that they've forgotten how to be fucking leftists. They've forgotten how to take a stand and fight. They've forgotten how to fucking take money from one place and put it in another place. It's just absurd. I'd rather not pay $7 for a Big Mac. Yeah, no, you won't.
I mean, aren't you kind of already, like, for the whole meal deal, isn't it already $7?
I mean, yeah, for the whole fucking meal deal, it's more than $7, but yeah, it's about like $8.50 or $9 or something for
How much do those fries and drink cost?
Nothing.
Cost another $4.
That's the thing, is like they looked at, like, I remember reading a fucking article. We covered it on Flash Fried like a year and a half ago, where they were talking about how like an increase in the minimum wage to $15 would cause like a median, like between 15 and 30 cent increase in the price of most products that were affected per item. It's just ridiculous. Paul, I'm really concerned that there might be a conflict of priorities there. I agree a wide-scale labor movement could be effective, but we have to stop things like immigration in order to, I don't know.
Immigrants aren't the enemies of labor.
No. The only enemies of labor are the people that fucking control the capital. Like, immigration is part of this. Like, they're part of the labor force. Look at the unionization movement led by Cesar Chavez in the Central Valley of California of day laborers and migrant workers and shit. They're comrades. Like, we need to stop looking at them like they're some kind of enemy. Everything is about sowing disunity among workers. You guys just don't understand this. The aura of fucking misinformation that centers around unions, the hyper focus on the seedy fucking nature of unions and the way that unions kind of went the way of organized crime, as if the powers that be had nothing to do with that. As if they had nothing to do with the slow, sure corruption of the union movement. It's absurd. There is so much fear and dissent sowed amongst workers in this country of one another, of the idea of collective bargaining, and it's all the power. All the power rests there. This country grinds to a halt without its workers. That's where the power base is. And we're talking about this fucking dog and pony show of electoralism as if it's going to get us fucking from A to B, and it's just not. We've been sitting at A since I was a child. This country, and to be quite frank with you, the world over, needs a national worker movement where the vast majority of people reassert their power, reassert their dominance, and reassert their fucking control over the systems of government that provide the structure of their lives. Take back the power to fucking have a say in what you're compensated at work. I'm not a communist. I'm a post-capitalist.
Communism implies that you're following some doctrine. It's just common sense.
For me, the doctrine is important, and I'm glad that there are people that are studying communist and socialist movements of the past. But to slavishly tie myself to that old fucking, in some cases, 100 years dead and or more doctrine doesn't seem like the way forward. I'm for any idea that includes empowering the worker again. I'm for any idea that includes the fair distribution of resources to people. I'm for any idea that ends hunger and homelessness. I'm for any idea that ensures that people that have their fucking health care taken care of, they don't suffer. Whatever that makes me, I am. But communists don't quite fit. Socialists don't quite fit. What do you think of these Wall Street crooks losing their money? They'll get it back. They'll get it back. The taxpayers will pick up the tab on that. Now, I tell you what, if you make some risky bets and lose your whole fucking life savings, your tits are in the wind. But if you're a big fucking hedge fund manager and shit, oh yeah, no, trust me, their nut will be made. They'll get to reincorporate their hedge fund as something else, and it'll keep on going. And in the meantime, you know, they'll pass some legislation about, you know, trading irregularity or whatever to keep these run-ups from happening anymore, and that'll be that. There's no way. There's no way that average people will be allowed to play by their game and get in front of them and their money. But in the meantime, it really is fun watching them squirm. I've been described as a post-leftist, but I don't self-apply the label. I'm not exactly sure what that would change about my ideology or what it would imply about my ideology, and so I don't self-apply it, but I've been called a member of the post-left before. For whatever that means. You ever get tired of all the labels to fit people into categories that only describe the smallest part of a person's ideology? That's why I stopped self-applying that shit. I let people label me whatever they want and hope that, you know, they'll engage me and ask me questions or listen to what I have to say and make their mind up based on that, rather than what they think they know about a label. I mean, it's very human to want to simplify things, and I understand it. Like, I don't think it's necessarily like a mean-spirited thing or a negative thing that people are trying to do to people. It's just human beings, like, we need simplicity when it comes to these more complex problems and shit sometimes. We need to be able to kind of, like, look at the landscape and identify friend from foe, you know? And I get it. And there might be some labels out there that do apply to me or whatever, but I'm really not interested in any of them. Most of the labels that people apply to me have been hurled at me like invective, and so why would I self-apply a label like that, you know? I mean, I understand that a lot of people meme calling me a doomer, but there's a lot of people that aren't memeing calling me a doomer. You know, I've spent probably like fucking 40 hours in the last month or two talking about the plight of the earth, talking about the plight of the average fucking person, talking about how things could be better. And I really don't think the doomer label applies to me. Just because I think that it's not going to happen through the traditional electoral means, I don't think that makes me a fucking doomer. But, you know, pretty much every goddamn label that's thrown at me is thrown at me like invective. Like, I talk about rewilding, and I talk about the idea of humanity returning to a way of living that's closer to fucking equilibrium with their environment, and I get called an prim, and I get return to monkey memes thrown at me. I talk about fucking, you know, the need for people to fucking take a stand outside of electoralism, and people assume that I mean some kind of a violent stand, and I get called a tanky. You know what I mean? Like, every label that's been thrown at me has been thrown at me as invective. And so, fuck up self-applying that shit. You want to think of me that way? Go ahead. People get so caught up in, like, arguing whether or not a label applies to a person that they forget to listen to what that person's saying and internalize the fucking idea and run it through the grist of the mill. I don't really give a fuck what you call yourself. What do you think? That's what I care about. Call yourself whatever the fuck makes you feel good, but what do you think? That's what I care about. How do you reconcile your labor talk with your rewilding talk? I don't need to. I'm not advocating for either one as the sole answer to our problems. So there's no functional dissonance between the two positions for me. I talk about them because they are different ways than what we are doing now. You know? I like to keep my mind open to the possibilities that I'm aware of, to the crazy ideas, as far-fetched as they may be, that I'm aware of. And so I spend my time talking about those things. Fusion reactors. I wouldn't hold my breath on fusion reactors. They've been talking about fusion reactors and how they're going to supplant things, geothermal this and solar that. Look, I'm all for all those fucking things. I don't want to step in front of any of those things. If there's somebody about to release some fucking infinite energy plant that's got very little fucking ecological impact, I'm all for that shit, but I gotta tell you guys, I've been hearing that meme since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. And it hasn't happened yet. Part of the problem with that is that we have an economy that's addicted to fossil fuels. We have an economy that's completely addicted to trading and running itself on fossil fuels. We have an entire manufacturing base that is centered around running on different types of fossil fuels. And in order to transition from fossil fuels to some kind of new, cleaner energy source would require a huge investment on the companies to do it. And why would they do that? That eats into their profit margin. So there's no market-driven reason to move towards these green energy sources. In fact, there's every market-driven reason to move away from them or to keep them niche so that the market can continue to exploit the ever-fluctuating price of oil, gas, natural gas, coal. What you're saying about labels, etc., is exactly what post-leftism is. Well, I don't know that for a fact, but if you say so. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the labeling, I'm sick of the political labels, and I'm sick of the endless arguments that end in fucking somebody hurling a label at somebody and just dismissing their fucking argument. If that's what you want to do to me, I can't stop you from doing it. But I'll be damned if I'm gonna fucking participate on any level in that stupid nonsense. That's another thing too that fucking puts me at odds with people, and maybe it's the wrong tack to take, but as a leftist, I'm not out here to make friends, man. I'm not. I'm not out here to fucking win friends and influence fucking people. I'm out here to make my fucking presence known, and I'm out here to make my opinion known, and I'm out here to be uncompromising in those things and to engage people with those things. I don't care about having a group of people that cheerlead me on. I don't care about having a group of people that I can, slap a label in front of me and I've got, instant backup. I don't need that. I don't want that. I'm not useful that way to the left. I'm really not. Put me out there in front of a fucking group of labor organizers and let me whip that shit into a frenzy, and I'll do that for you. Put me in front of a group of fucking workers and let me have fucking 20 minutes of their time, and I'll give you their hearts. But that's where I am as a leftist. That's what I do. And if we can have submarines that are nuclear powered, why can't we have cities that are powered that way? I don't know. I don't gomble on the stonk market, but I appreciate those of you that are doing so. Not my thing. Would you go to a big labor strike if one happened near you? Assuming there was one nearby to me. If for no other reason than to just meet people and to talk to them about what they're doing and what's right and what's wrong about what they're doing, I need to learn about what's left of the union movement. And it's hard to do that for me, reading some academic discussion about it. I need to talk to people that are in unions. So for that reason alone, yes, I would love to attend a big labor protest, because I want to hear what people have to say. I want to hear what people that are currently in unions have to say about being in unions. What's broken? What works? How could it be changed? What does it need? Yeah, we need that personal firsthand experience, and I can only drag so much of it. I grew up in a union household. I had a dad that was a union president for a number of years, and I got to witness that kind of democratic process, the process of collective bargaining, the process of attaining consensus at a factory and in a union setting. Like, I've seen that work, but I don't have any firsthand experience doing it. I was never an organizer. I was never a fucking member of a large enough union to take part in any kind of collective labor action. I never served on a union board as a delegate. So like I don't have that. I've got my parents. I could talk to them about it, but as far as what the current state of the fucking labor movement is, I don't have that. So I need that. And so yeah, I would love to take part in some labor action. Unions have approximately 7% of the private labor market. The public unions have a bit more, but none of them have the leverage to create wide-scale change anymore. That's the problem. That's the problem that needs addressing. That's why this country and this world needs a new labor movement. The unionization of every laborer in this country that we can get our fucking hands on under one umbrella. Paul, I'm still a rebel too. I'm rebelling against those who do more damage, create more social divisions, make up more conspiracy theories, and don't offer practical solution to the issues. Well, I guess, what is that? You saying you're at war with me? Is that your little wry way? Saying you're at war with me? All right, buddy. Then it's war, motherfucker. What are your practical solutions to the goddamn problem? I'm just kidding. No, Paul, I wasn't talking about you. Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad. I am the enemy of humanity, yes. This is the enemy of lungs. What I'm sitting out here doing is the enemy of my lungs. Toot me. Come on. Hit me with a toot. Hit me with the toot, toot, toot. Monkey labor. Yeah. You got it, bud. You got it, bro. You got it, bro. Also got yourself 300 seconds from Otello the Sniper. What do I want to be when I grow up? A doctor. I want to be a lawyer. Smoking cigarettes and watching Captain Kangaroo. Don't tell me. Excuse me. I have nothing to do. I don't know anything about Pokemon, Garrett. Sorry. How high am I right now? On the typical stoner 1 to 10 scale, I'm at about an 8. I'm good and stoned. I think I need to push it a little higher, though. A little higher. Not a ton. Yeah, I mean, I knew about Pokemon in the 90s and shit, but, like, when did Pokemon come out in the United States? Like, the cards and shit. Like, when did the cartoon get really big? It's like 95 or 6, right? I was like 16. I was way out of the fucking age range. I looked at those lame little cards, and that was it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like the Pokemon cards and shit were out in like 95, 96, and then the cartoon came out in 96, 97. I was already like almost out of high school and shit. It just wasn't gonna happen, man. It was 98. Well, 98 was the cartoon, right? The Pokemans were popular before the cartoon came to America, at least. Because I remember there not being a cartoon, but then like seeing all these news stories from the 90s, like the newest craze amongst kids, Pokemon or Pocket Monsters, is a game from Japan that has some parents' concerns, Jake. That's right, Tina. Some parents say that their children are spending 5, 10, even 12 hours a day playing the addictive card game from Japan known as Pokemon. It's just like, oh, God. Boomers calling it Pokemon crack me up. I don't like your Pokemans. Get them out of here. Clean up your Pokemans. Magic cards are better anyway, dude. Magic the Gathering is like the man's Pokemon, you know? Magic the Gathering is Pokemon for grown-ups. Yu-Gi-Oh! Nope, missed it. Have you fought Behemoth in Monster Hunter World? Yes. I got Behemoth down. I don't know. I was able to kill everything in Monster Hunter World when it was first out, at least the first time through, and then the game just kind of gets harder. But yeah, Behemoth is like, you just have to learn his runaway attacks, because he's got these kind of like AoE damage charge up attacks that you've got to learn to see him charging up and get the fuck out of dodge. I don't have a whole lot of trouble with Behemoth because I main fucking the Lance. And you know, I'm pretty defensive and tanky and shit. And so he's a very aggressive dude. He wants to be on top of you, but you know, if you're a counter lancer or a dodge lancer or whatever the fuck, he's pretty easy. And there's a lot of AoE that he does. He does an AoE attack that kind of knocks everybody back. He does that kind of charge thing that brings down the fucking meteor shit. But yeah, he's doable. He's tough though. Like that fight is designed so that if you have a badly composed team, like if you end up in a fucking random group and your team's not very well balanced, or you have somebody that's new to the fight and they die a bunch, like you're not gonna beat it. Like it requires everybody on the team to like be engaged and kind of know the fight a little bit to beat him, you know, in his first form or whatever. I never beat Ultra Instinct Behemoth or Behemoth. You have a favorite horror game? Probably like Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation. If not that one, then there was this like game back in the day on the PC called Seventh Guest, and it was like a puzzle game combined with a horror game that I really enjoyed. There was also a Clock Tower. I don't know if you guys remember that shit. Clock Tower on the Super Nintendo was a spooky fucking game. So, some of those. Yeah, the scissor guy. Shoo, 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 shoo. Alien Isolation. Nah, man, I didn't even finish that game. It was too spooky. Well, not spooky, but just too like jump scary and shit for I couldn't fucking enjoy it. It was too much. Like I feel like honestly, one of the reasons why the first game that came to my mind when you asked me that question was Resident Evil 3 is that I feel like I was really scared playing that game, but that game was very good at managing your fucking like adrenaline level. It would spike you up and fucking Nemesis would come crashing through a wall or something. And you'd be like, oh, fuck. And you'd run. And then something would happen and something would fall over and block him. And then there'd be a safe house. And you'd get a chance to like, all right. Dude, once Alien Isolation kicks off, I didn't get very far at it, but you're being hunted all the time. There's not a second where you can like sit and be like, all right, I'm gonna like maybe later in the game there is, but like in the part of the game that I was in, it was literally like I had no chance to fucking breathe. I can't deal with that. But yeah, I remember the first game that really scared me was Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I remember being at home alone. It was when I had first moved to Arizona. One of the only possessions that I had was this little 12-inch TV VCR combo, which I brought with me, and my PlayStation, which I brought with me. And I had Resident Evil 3, and I sat at home alone with the lights out and shit playing Resident Evil 3, and I got myself genuinely spooked. Like, I got to a quitting point, a save point, and I turned off the game, and then I realized, like, none of the lights were on in the house, and it was dark, and nobody was home, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, the Silent Hill games, they're spooky, but they didn't get me the same way that other people react to them. Like, they are definitely scary, but just in a different way to me. I don't know. What's scary to me is it's hard to put your fucking finger on it. Yeah, Nemesis being a big giant zombie that can just crash in on you at any time. Like once they establish in that game that he can just be anywhere, then it is, there's a lot of tension and stuff involved, but a good amount of like breaks in the tension. Like, another game that I really enjoyed that I would put on my list too? The first Dead Space game. That game really managed to cycle well between like really pulse pounding, like, oh my fucking god, this is so scary, and giving you time to like upgrade your suit. You'd have like, you know what I mean? You can like, you can chill a little bit. Dead Space is dope. Yeah, they need to remaster the original. Just, for modern resolutions, maybe give it a little fucking graphical touch up or something. Add some ray tracing. I'd play that game again. That game was good. Yeah, it might still be playable, honestly. I don't know. That Dead Space animation was pretty neat. Oh yeah, it was a great game. I enjoyed every second I spent with that game. I really did. I think that you're right. Resident Evil is more traditional boogity woogity woo kind of jump scare horror, and Silent Hill is more psychological horror. I think that might be the problem. I have a hard time getting into psychological horror games. I think it's less effective on me than the traditional kind of horror presentation is. Like the psychological horror in games is hard for. I guess it's not as spooky to me as the idea of actually being like pursued by something that wants to kill me. Another game that was too fucking much for me to handle that I tried on it was either the PlayStation or PlayStation 2. Fatal Frame. You guys remember that fucking game? You guys might not. Some of you probably will, but that fucking game. Oh my god, dude, that one was too goddamn much for me. I couldn't hang. Couldn't fucking hang with that shit. System Shock had horror elements to it, but I didn't really think it was all that scary of a game, to be honest with you. It had some spooky parts, I guess, and a spooky atmosphere, but I don't look at like Shock 1 and 2 and go like that's a horror game. To me, that's like a I don't know, like a first person RPG slash shooter slash horror element type of game. I have no mouth and I must scream. Oh yeah, I forgot that game. I forgot that little Harlan Ellison story was turned into a game. Whoa, memories flooding back. I used to play that game, that little adventure game, right, where you had to play as the 4 different people that he was torturing for eternity or whatever. Do you consider BioShock horror? It definitely had some creepy moments. Yeah, I mean, maybe, kind of. I mean, BioShock and System Shock are very spiritually connected as games, obviously. And so I think it's kind of, I put it in the same kind of group. It's like an exploration first person RPG game with horror elements. But I don't know that I would short sell it as like a game that is focused on the horror, you know? But that's just me. Yeah, that might be true. Somebody was talking about like the power level that you're able to attain in a game having a lot to do with whether or not it's a true horror game, and maybe that's true for me. I mean, I don't want to gatekeep other games or whatever, but this, whatever your opinion is. If you think it's a horror game, it's a horror game. But like for me, I think that that's true. I think that being able to build yourself up to where like even if you get spooked you can just kill everything real quick because you're powerful as fuck kind of precludes a lot of the horror out of a game for me. Whereas the game that keeps you just able to defend yourself, like that's why I think Resident Evil is so good. That Resident Evil 3 is such a pinnacle game for horror gaming, because like you are faced with this unbeatable monster, and slowly but surely throughout the game you learn that you're able to wound him. And it all culminates in a final showdown with him that is, unless you're a fucking ace player at the game or know exactly what you're doing, it's a desperate struggle to conserve your ammo and just get through it. And when you beat it, it really feels like you're a normal human being that has just implausibly been able to survive this horror kind of fiasco. Whereas, like a game like BioShock or System Shock, eventually your character is powerful enough and your weaponry is powerful enough and you're equipped with enough tools to deal with the things that are jumping out at you, that it's only that initial jump scare that makes it kind of horror-ish. You reach a point pretty early on in both of those games, less early in the System Shock games, I will tell you, but that's to be expected considering they're like old schooler games. 90s games where, games were expected to be super hard rather than super accessible and easy. And so, System Shock and System Shock 2, it takes you a little while longer to reach that level of like, okay, my character has attained a level of power. But you get there well before the end of the game. And in BioShock, you get there way, way earlier. Just in casual play, I remember the first time I played through, I was just an absurdity of power in BioShock by, I don't know, hour 2. All kinds of fucking different, throwing fire, throwing electricity, throwing fucking octopus tentacles at people's faces and shit. It was crazy. So like the guys that would jump out and say creepy things, yeah, it was creepy. Like it was atmospherically creepy, but does that make it horror? I mean, was I really ever in any danger from the splicer that was like, I'm gonna chew your face, and then like comes jumping off the ceiling or whatever? No. They would hit me once and then I would set them on fire and shoot them in the face with my bolt gun or whatever the fuck I had, and that was it, It just reached a point. What do you think about games that have darker elements but where you are the thing that goes bump in the night? It's a rare kind of game, isn't it? But I can think of a few, like, off the top of my head, I guess. Maybe not. I don't know. Dungeon Master is an old game where you play the evil guy and you're trying to stop the heroes from invading your dungeon or whatever. Friday the 13th. But yeah, once again, that game invites you, and that other game. What's the game that's like the Friday the 13th game? Because there's another one that has a bunch of different slashers that you can be, and then you have to be survivors. Those games are like, yeah, I like them, but I've never gotten into one of them to be good enough at it. Dead by Daylight, yeah, that's the one. Freddy is in that game, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Freddy Krueger is a dude you can pick in Dead by Daylight. I'm 99% sure you could be him in that. And you could be Michael Myers too. That's cool. Manhunt. Yeah, Manhunt was like body horror in a game, which was really cool. It was like visceral kind, like it was like Hostel the game, but before the Hostel movies. So it was really like torture porn the game, And it was a horror game, not because it was all that fucking scary, but because what it made you do was scary. Like, you were forced into the position of having to be, like, horrifyingly brutal. And just that idea, that kind of premise for a game, I think, kind of gave it a good horror element. Yeah, I mean, I felt bad for playing, too. I think that was meant for that. It's supposed to engage your human empathy, like, thing. It was definitely unlike any other game I've ever played, really. I've never played a game that I feel like went quite that dark. I'm sure there's games out there now. In fact, I know there are, like, these Japanese rape games and shit that are way darker, but I've never played those, so I when it comes to like mainstream non-rape porn Japanese video games, you know what I mean? I can't think of a game that I feel like pushed that boundary of acceptability harder than fucking Manhunt did. So, Paul, at the risk of being verbally corrected, what happened to the pipe? I still have it. I don't know, man. It'll probably be something I do every once in a while. I still have a bunch of pipes. I just was it was hard for. I was not at the point where I was ready to switch over from fucking smoking to piping, and I need to quit anyway. So I'm just smoking coffin nails until it's time to quit, and then I might sit and enjoy a pipe every once in a while. I really do enjoy the act of smoking one. It's just like I was never able to get it to the point where it was, a replacement for the cigarette, unfortunately. I've got too much fucking, like, physical addiction. Like, manual oral fixation addiction. It is what it is. Pipes just look cooler. I haven't given up on the idea. It's just been lately, the guys and I have been in that crazy fucking like 6-day-a-week content creation fiesta mode, where it's like every day of my week, except for one day a week, is structured completely around my job. And, that's kind of like a stressy time to try and switch over your tobacco intake, I really wish I hadn't picked up again, but I try not to kick myself about it. I went, relatively cigarette free with a couple of lapses here and there where I would smoke a cigarette here and there, but I'm, never bought a pack of cigarettes for close to a decade of my life, and dumbass got back on him again. Imagine a Child's Play video game in the style of Hitman where you stalk your victims but switch to doll mode when they see you. Maybe a toy store level. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah, Child's Play video games where you play Chucky seems like it would be pretty dope, honestly. Give you kind of like platforming ability because he's so quick and small and agile. Design the levels around him being able to hide and stalk his victims and stuff. Yeah, I think a Chucky game would be pretty sweet. What was the last midnight launch you attended for a game? Love you, man. Which game came out first, StarCraft 2 or Diablo 2? I think it was Diablo, or no, StarCraft 2 came out first, right? Or am I wrong about that? Whichever one of those came out second is the last one that I went to. No, that's not true. That's not true. Yeah, sorry, Diablo 3, yeah. Diablo 3, I did a midnight release for Diablo 3, and I did a midnight release for StarCraft 2. But that's not the last one that I did. I did the early release party for a weird South Korean, I think, MMO or Chinese MMO that got localized for America called Blade and Soul, which is actually kind of a really fun game, but I fell off and stopped playing it because all the people that I played with stopped playing it. But it was I remember it like being a pretty fun game, honestly. I don't usually get into those types of games, but Ashley, who I was with at the time, was really into it. We happened to be in LA for the first DFF meetup, and she told me, oh my god, like the day after the meetup when we're still in LA, this is going on or whatever the fuck. And I was like, cool, I've never done something like that. It was like that early release party or whatever. So they had a bunch of PCs set up in there. I got a t-shirt that I wear still. You guys have probably seen me in my weird Blade and Soul t-shirt. Yeah, I got a t-shirt that I you know, some a swag bag or whatever the fuck. It was cool. So I guess that would be the answer, although that wasn't technically a midnight release. That was an early release party or whatever for the game, like a promo event. So I guess the last midnight release party that I would have went to would have been Diablo 3. And it's probably the last one that I will ever go to, honestly. I don't think those things are going to happen much anymore. I'll be honest with you, man, and I'm not trying to, like, whatever. Like, this is going to seem like a bullying comment, but one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't do another midnight release is because the people that go to midnight releases, in my limited experience, are like dorks. Sweaties. You know what I mean? Sweaties. Schveddies. And I know I'm one too. But, you know, it's not like you have this in. I had it in my mind when I went to the StarCraft 2 release party, because I went with my brother-in-law to that. He and I were both big StarCraft fans, and so when StarCraft 2 came out, me and him and one of his friends who was also into StarCraft, we all went to it together, and we all were all psyched up for it because we thought, yeah, it's going to be a bunch of dudes we can talk to about StarCraft, and it's going to be neat. And it wasn't, man, it wasn't neat at all. It was just dorky, and like we ended up talking to ourselves the whole time. And there was a guy that did a really cringy like dance, and there was a guy that like was all dressed up. He had like StarCraft 2 shirt on and shit, and he had goggles on. I think he was trying to be a Terran or something. And when he got his collector's edition, because we were all in line, he turned around and like went woo, and then started doing some like Cabbage Patch dance and shit, and was all like, yeah, see you guys in game, woo, you know. And I was just like, ugh. Can I just have my game, please? No. I met the Philadelphia guy at the fucking Diablo 3 midnight release. This is what I'm telling you, man. It's just I have bad experiences with these releases, with these midnight release game things. I'll tell you this, the Blade and Soul one, I expected that one to be bad, but it wasn't. The people that went to that were actually pretty chill. Because I had to wait in line out in front of that place for like an hour before they started letting us in. And the people in line around me, like, they were weebs, I'm not going to lie, but that doesn't preclude somebody from being chill. I know some chill weebs. They do exist. And, you know, they were chill weebs. And I got recognized in that line, too. Which is one of the only times that's happened. One of the few times that I've been recognized in the wild. A chick that was in line like a few spaces behind me, I guess she heard me talking. And her and her boyfriend come up and she taps me on the shoulder. She goes, "I'm so sorry to bug you." She said, "Are you Paul's ego?" I was like, "Yeah." She goes, "Oh my God." She said, "I'm a big fan. Would you sign this?" And her boyfriend was not a big fan. I could tell. Her boyfriend was standing there like, you know that look where you're not trying to look salty, but he was like, I was like, "All right, dear. Nice to meet you." Take a selfie. Teep. There you go. Yeah, that salty look, dude. That, like... That's something, and I'm not trying to brag, but this is something that has been true of every meetup that I've gone to. And I'm not telling you guys this to brag, but I'm telling you it because it's honestly, it's weird for me. And I'm not trying to just like say it's weird, but that people do this, but it's weird for me that I would be the object of something like this. Every meetup that I've been to, going back to the DP days, there has been a female in attendance at the meetup that was tossing me super duper heavy vibes at every meetup. And, you know, I've been in relationships at every meetup. And so dude, doing that whole, like, having sex with your fan base thing, that's how people end up canceled and shit. I'm not trying to do it. So I just don't, you know, I've got pretty strict rules. Casual sex with the fan base, nah. I don't hate the player, but no. I'm not even good with the ladies. I think that there are certain, like, that there are a small minority of women that are attracted to kind of big, burly, beardy dudes. And then also attracted maybe to dudes that are good at, you know, whatever, like decent speakers. And I think that's kind of like the truth. I don't know. That's what I get out of it. That, and for whatever reason, the little bit of minor, like, celebrity shit is attractive to people, I guess, too. I'm the Ringo Starr of DFF. Well, hello. Peace and love, please. No more letters. No more fan mail after January 1st. If it's post-dated after the 1st of January, it will be tossed. Peace and love, do you feel you are more popular with the ladies than TJ? I have no fucking clue. I doubt it. TJ's bigger, you know what I mean? Like, that adds a whole nother metric to it. You know, there's chicks that just want like a giant mountain of a man. I can't be that. I'm a foothill of a man. I can't be a mountain of a man, So I've got a feeling that TJ's probably got more of that in the fan base than I do, but it is and I don't mean it's weird that they approached me, because none of the people that approached me were weird about it. It was weird for me because that's not something that I think that, well, it's just not something I'm used to. Jeff, I wouldn't make such assumptions. I mean, if Amelia chooses to join us again out here, I'll ask her what dating me is like, and you'll hear the truth. It's not like, she'll probably say sweet things about me because she's a sweet person, but I'll tell you this, it ain't easy, man. I'm not an easy person to date, and I'm not an easy person to be friends with either. I'm a challenging friend. I don't mean to be. I'm a good friend and I'm a loyal friend, but I'm also a friend that is, I'm prickly and I'm fucking prone to disappearing for months on end and shit. And if you're not into that, if you can't handle the fact that, like, I have to manage my friendships very carefully and shit, and I have to manage my time very carefully, then you can't be friends with me. So I'm tough in that way. And for some of the same reasons, I think I'm tough to date as well. I can't be one of these people that is like 24/7, 365 engaged in relationship-related shit. Like, I can't. I have to have time of my own. And if I don't, I go fucking insane. And that's been a problem in previous relationships. Not every relationship that I've been in has that been a problem. That's not the only issue that has cropped up in my life when it comes to relationships, but it is one of them. I'm a solitary person sometimes. Like, I gotta have my time to myself sometimes. And, and I get prickly around those times too. It's just times where I can't, like, I'm overstimulated or whatever. I think a lot of it too, the job has exacerbated that. So it makes me even more in need of that kind of decompressing time, because I spend a lot of time doing this kind of third-hand interaction or whatever you'd call this. I mean, I spend time every day with Amelia. We chill, we talk, we spend time every day. And but almost every day as well, I spend time on my own. I spend time apart from Amelia, not like in different states or even in different houses, but just on my own, doing my own thing, watching something on my own, playing a game on my own, decompressing, writing, whatever the fuck it is I'm doing. And that's very important to my mental health. I missed a super chat. Sorry about that. Let me see what I can do here. Let me see what I can do. Damn, I must have missed it a minute ago. I guess right here. Here we go. StarCraft for nerds. A real man plays Warhammer 40K. Well, I like Warhammer too. I've never played the actual, like pen and paper Warhammer. I mean, I think it just works out for Amelia and I, because I think that to a lesser extent, she's the same way. I think that she enjoys her time on her own, doing her own thing too. And, it just fits. I'll tell you this, she's very respectful of my need for distance whenever I do need it. And that feels really good to have somebody that takes into account how I feel and what it is that I need and stuff. But, you know, it's a long road to hoe for me to get there. You know, I've been through a lot of fucking bad, poopy relationships and some, you know, not like totally awful relationships, but just relationships where at the end, the sum of the differences was greater than the sum of the similarities, and it was too great. And those are always the saddest ones, but they happen. Oh man, I got a little frog friend here for you guys. Let me go save him, because he'll get lost up here and dry out. I don't want you to die, little froggy boy, but I am going to show you to my stream. Can you come with me? Look at you. Well, you're pretty. Just don't jump, okay? I don't want you to hurt yourself. Can you guys see him? Let me get over here in the light. Little froggy friend here. There he is. See him there? He's a cute guy. It's hard for me to see. There we go. He was hopping around up here, and I don't want him to get lost up here on the thing, because he'll get hurt. Let me take you out here where it's nice and wet, froggy friend. How's that? We'll go for a little walk together and put you here in the tall grass. There you go, friend. Lick it. I don't think it's one of those toads, man. Let me go rinse my hand real quick. Gotta love frogs, man. You ever see one of those little guys up on your porch, help them out? They get confused, man. And then they end up being easy prey for feral cats and stuff. Save the little guys. They're worth it. They're cute. Yeah, they keep the mosquitoes and the flies and stuff down. They're good buddies to have around. So be a good friend to them. Dinor would not eat the frog. Dinor wouldn't hurt a fly, to be honest with you. I had a frog in the living room once. That was unexpected. That happens, yeah. They'll hop in right after you sometimes. You're not looking. It happens. You've got a big old frog named Eustace. That's cool, Zach. I hope he does come back. That's neat. Yeah, that was a little guy there. He was not a full-grown little froggy guy. I don't think. He seemed pretty small. Yeah, dude, I've stepped on frogs before accidentally, and it sucks, man. It really does. Still practicing an array of songs for that virtual busking, though, which reminds me, what do you think of the song Every Breath You Take by The Police? I love Sting and The Police, dude. I mean, as a singer, like Sting's shit is just, I can't even try it. He's got such a clear, high register voice. And it's tough, but yeah, dude, that's a great song. Probably The Police's most famous song. I like Message in a Bottle a little more than I like, Message in a Bottle and Roxanne. Roxanne is a dope song. Dude, Phoebes, you should learn Roxanne. I mean, I could sing it down an octave now, but it just takes so much of the power away from it. Artist is stinging the police. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light. You walk the streets from money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Good shit. But yeah, look at Message in a Bottle. Look at Roxanne. Roxanne. Oh yeah, they're great. What was the worst thing you did as a kid besides the trumpet? The worst thing I ever did was one time I pushed my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the dog. But the worst thing I ever done, me and my friend, we mixed up a batch of this fake puke, and we took it to the theater. We went up in the balcony, and we made a sound like this. And then we dumped the fake puke over the side. And then everybody, oh, this is the worst part. Everybody down in the audience, they saw the puke and they started puking all over each other. I never felt so rotten in my life.
Not good enough. Get the blender. First we start with the fleshy little hand. The plump little fingers. Then the fleshy little arm.
Yeah, who doesn't love the Goonies, man? You gotta love the Goonies. Yeah, TJ doesn't like it. I don't know. Maybe it just, like I was the target audience for that movie, so that explains why I like it. Dude, is that a big old millipede over there? Neat. Man, we got all kinds of creatures tonight on Highdeology. Look at this bad boy over here. Let's see if I can get him. It's a big old millipede guy. How's it going there, Millipedo? These guys are cool too. I'm gonna try and get him out of my shadow so you can see him a little bit. Let's see. There he is. He's heading the right way, so I won't worry about saving him. He's on the right track. He's heading towards the grass, so. Frog food? Maybe. Maybe so. Millipeding it up. Is it small? It's about I would say it's like 2 inches probably. 2 inches or so long. I do. Got the eagle vision, man. I saw him moving along the baseboard there. He's a crazy dude. He's making his way towards the grass, so he'll be fun. Those things used to be 6 feet long. Yes. They're arthropods. Interesting, right? Closer related to shrimp and fucking crabs than bugs. Your concern for the wildlife around you is truly heartwarming. Well, I just like it. I just love all the little creatures of the world. Except a few. Except hornets, mosquitoes, and any kind of fucking other parasitic leech-like animal. Those can all eat a dick, but... No, I like slugs. Well, wait. Then what are the... They're fucking... not. They're not mollusks, are they? Because that's a snail. Well, I thought to be an insect, you had to have 6 legs. That over there has 100 legs or some shit. Brown recluse. I mean, you know, I wouldn't go out of my way to kill one if I saw one. I'd try and fucking get him in a jar or some shit. Same thing goes for like a widow. There's like, I was lifting up some boards and shit when I was cutting up a bunch of wood there was a bunch of stacks of wood all over the backyard here that I cut up in a firewood when I first got here. And there was some like particle board and sheet kind of board out there that was stacked. And when I picked up one of them, I picked up one of them, there was a big old widow lady living under there that had, you know, you could tell she'd been living under there a while. You could see a lot of her egg sacs. She was the only one in there. So you could tell she'd probably been in there a couple seasons. And I didn't kill her. I already disturbed her home, you know, and she's far enough out from my house that I'm not going to kill an animal like that. There's no point. But one of those a widow gets in my house, there's a good chance it's going to get killed. That's sad stuff, Duck. It's true, though. You wouldn't want to drink directly out of most streams in America now, even though that should be the natural state of things. Oh, yeah, black widows are gorgeous. I had to remove one for a friend one. They really are, I wouldn't say gorgeous, but they are pretty. Like, in a terrifying way. In the same way that, like, the xenomorph is pretty, you know what I mean? They're just, I don't know, highly specialized animals, and I respect them. I just don't want to be bitten by one. But any other, like, common spider that I would run into around here, from what I can tell, is not going to be a problem. I've seen a lot of little wolf spiders out here, and those little guys are just as pleasant as punch. Been out here saving the wildlife, honey.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we had a little froggy friend visit. I got him saved, and then if you look right there, right at the edge, there's a millipede friend.
Oh yeah.
You see him there?
Uh-huh.
He's making his way in the right direction, though, so I didn't bother rescuing him. He's heading towards the yard. Yeah, we've been blessed with some wildlife visits here tonight. A truly blessed Highdeology.
Was reading cricket, got all up on my lap.
Oh yeah, he'll sit there if you can come up with a way to read with one hand and just give him pets. He'll sit there forever.
I didn't even have to pet him.
Yeah, he just liked to. Yeah, he likes when I'm playing video games or just typing away. Sometimes he'll come and visit. I'm like, all right. Do you know any Catholic, like? Do you know the Lord's Prayer, or or Hail Mary or whatever?
Not really.
I know the Lord's Prayer. Yeah, I learned the Lord's Prayer when I was going through that like period when I was a teenager, and I thought I was going out of my mind, and so I was looking at Christianity as a possible answer to that. And I heard the Lord's Prayer, and I immediately was like, I'm gonna memorize that. And every time I start to have this feeling, which back then I didn't know, but it was panic attacks that were happening. Every time I start to have this feeling, I'm gonna say the Lord's Prayer, and it was actually good as a way to kind of intercede in it sometimes for me. But then I found out that the litany against fear from Dune worked the same way, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. I learned that too. Yeah, I don't want to cheat, but Phoebe just put the whole thing in the chat. But here, I'll try and see if I can get it without cheating. I won't look at the chat. It's Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. For thine is the power and the glory forever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. I might have added a couple of evers there, but that's basically what I might have missed something here or there, but I haven't done that in a long time. Oh yeah, lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Right. So I missed that last part. Glory to God. What about a Hail Mary? Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Hail Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now in the hour of at the hour of our death. I think. I don't know any more than that. That's as far as I can get on a Hail Mary. I don't know. It's fine. I'm not super cold tonight. I do remember the preamble of the Constitution, yes. We the people of the United States, in order to... We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union... We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, secure... Okay, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, I'm not going to be able to get it. Do solemnly swear that we are up to no good, yes.
You have a hard time with the word perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Saying perfect.
Perfect. We the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, support the common defense, provide for the general welfare, and promote the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Boom, bitch! Dug that one out of fucking AP history or whatever the fuck.
I didn't have much church as a kid.
I didn't either. I did the whole Christian seeking thing on my own. Read the Bible, borrowed some tapes from my stepdad. I just heard the news Wall Street has been playing a game of punch buggy, no punchback for decades, and just got punched back. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we necessarily sent the violence up, because I think that these people are going to be made whole in a way that we wouldn't be, but certainly as it stands right now, they're the ones wringing their hands along. Well, they're wringing their hands along with us about their finances, which is interesting, to say the least. It's something I never would have thought of. It's an angle that it takes that type of thinker to come up with. I never would have thought of people being able to come together in that amount and to cause that amount of a problem. But it's awesome. It's dope. Yep. I went to a Pentecostal church and got sweaty pits, and when I wouldn't put my arms up, they thought I was possessed and smacked me with oil over and over. Jesus. Literally.
Pentecostals, dude.
Yeah, those Pentecostals, man. Smacked with oil a bunch of times, bro. Speaking in tongues is not as easy as you think it might be. It's easy for some people, but there's a name for it. I can't remember. Glossolalia. It's actually tough to do if you listen to the people that do it routinely and ritualistically. A lot of the speaking in tongues that people have heard comes from like prosperity gospel ministers who are doing it kind of like cynically. If you walk into an actual Free Will Baptist church or Pentecostal church where tongue speaking is done, you will find a really interesting cycle for each person who speaks in tongues. Most people that speak in tongues speak cyclically. They have a number of phrases that they use cyclically, but they use them free and fluid, almost in a way that it's hard to do, like Eminem raps. You know what I mean? Where there's just not even a breath between syllables, and it comes out in one continuous stream. And many of the people that do this have 5 or 6 words that they weave in different ways and different combinations, 5 or 6 different turns of phrase out of their tongue speaking. I had to study a Free Will Baptist church for a long time for a role that I did. I played a snake handling preacher in a play called Handler, and we all had to develop our speaking in tongue skills, and I struggled with it more than anybody in the group did. I had the hardest time getting one that was that was good, and I can't even remember what it was now, and couldn't even do it now. It was very foreign to me and something that I had to learn, and took me a long time to learn, and I had to watch a lot of people and listen to a lot of people do it. And what I learned is that it wasn't what I thought it was. It wasn't what you hear prosperity gospel preachers doing, the Baba Shaka Kanda Daga Laka Bu Shaka Ha Hakada La Pata. It's not that shit. These people will just, I can't do it. You know, think like Eminem and Rap God, you know, just like they sound like those people that what do they do? The auctioneers. Hey, don't you know, but like they've got that same cadence, that same like staccato rhythm, and it takes a lot of fucking practice to get yourself anywhere near that. So it's a misunderstood thing. A lot of breath control and a lot of like real hyper concentration. I'm a misunderstood thing. Maybe I am. So what? Oh, Sleepy D. I think I know why, because he got up with me today. He got up with me at whatever before the sun came up. Weird how if you speak in tongues in Catholicism, it's a demon, but in Pentecostal, it's Jesus. Yeah. Well, not Jesus, it's the Holy Ghost. Speaking with the tongues of angels, lifted up on high.
Is there anything I can get you, honey?
No, I think I'm good, baby. Thank you, though. Sorry it's so cold. Well, I know why you're so cold. You're wearing that thin-ass jacket.
It's not thin.
That's a thin jacket.
It is? Okay.
You can wear... I wear a hoodie under that jacket sometimes.
Come on.
Nod narb. We are all idiots. Yes. We're all stupid. Oh yeah, dude. There's lots of white rappers that can spit bars for sure. Yeah. LP, Brother Ali, John Wayne, yeah. Paul Wall, Lil White. Yeah, Bubba Sparks. Oh yeah, dude. Dude, that fucking song Ugly that he did. That's where I picked up the term booty chatter from. Miss New Booty, yeah. Drop it down, bring it back to me. Miss New Booty. What do you mean I'm not insane? Who told you that? Favorite Kubrick movie and why? If you're going to pin me down and make me choose one, I'm going to choose Full Metal Jacket. Why? I don't know. That's tougher to quantify. I mean, really, like, I want to say that it comes down to the fact that Private Joker reminds me of my dad. I remember the first time I saw that movie, it blew me away how much Private Joker looked like my dad in his basic training photos. Same goofy, gawky, skinny, big-eared, dorky looking kid. And so that, I think, caused me to watch that movie over and over and over and over again. And it's probably my favorite. Amongst a ton of movies that I consider to be total fucking classics. So, not to denigrate any of his other works, but... I think every aspect of our culture is affected by the psychological analysis and manipulation of marketing firms. Do DIY artists who alter commercial products perpetuate that culture or not? I mean, they have no choice but to participate in the culture. I think, like you're talking about, like Banksy or these kind of like rogue street artists who participate because like Banksy. Shepard Fairey was another guy. He was the guy that he papered LA with the Obey posters, the picture of Andre the Giant, kind of cartoonized, and got famous for it. And there's a documentary you can watch called Exit Through the Gift Shop, which is I really recommend it. Supposed to be a documentary about Banksy, but ended up being a documentary about all these other outsider artists, centering around this one guy. Mr. Brainwash. Great documentary. And Shepard Fairey talks about the like very briefly, but he talks a little bit about the repetition of themes. And how he was making a commentary with his Obey posters on the constant repetition of themes that happens in marketing. So he was kind of using some of their own tools to supplant a different image in people's minds that didn't mean anything. And it was actually taking away from them because he would often paper their advertisements with his shit. So he would replace a building's, side, downtown LA kind of building advertisement and paste a big Obey sticker over it, And so he was kind of chewing up their space. And Banksy uses the same kind of repetition in his art, the repetition of themes, the use of very easy to identify themes and the reuse of those themes over and over again. Like the rat, for example, is a lot, at least in early Banksy, you see a lot of the use of the rat with a crown, a group of rats scurrying around the feet of children. He uses a lot of rat imagery in his earlier work. And so you can see that kind of like them digging into that forced cultural narrative that marketing and public relations created, where corporations talk to us all the time in ways that are meant to influence us to purchase their product or to accept their replacement for whatever used to be there, or and then obviously the government uses these same tactics in order to sell the populace on things like war, the repetition of themes, right? So just like Banksy would put rats up everywhere, and just like Shepard Fairey would put the Obey face up everywhere, Andre the Giant's big vacant fucking face just staring at you. The same way that they do that, these shoe companies throw the same fucking 3 themes in your face. You want to get fucked, you wear these shoes. You want to be good, you wear these shoes. You want people to like you, you wear these shoes. It's a constant repetition of theme. And one of the many psychological manipulation techniques that these PR firms figured out was that the repetition of themes works really, really well in instilling something into people's minds. That's why commercials have jingles. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. You think that was an accident? No, it was not an accident. It was not an accident that every man, woman, and child in America knows, uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. That was designed to be catchy, and then it was repeated over and over and over and over and over and over again until people around you started to use it as a common phrase. And then you've got your advertising as part of fucking normal everyday turn of phrase language. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it. Red Robin, yum. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. You think all this shit is just they made that little song because they thought it would be cute? No. They made that little song because they knew it would stick in your head and that you would probably sing it to your friends and it would make you think about your Chili's baby back ribs with the special barbecue sauce. Give me a break, give me a break, break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar. Skittles, taste the rainbow. You think that little choice was just, oh, let's have him randomly whisper that? No. Just do it, sure. It's about creating monoliths out of products via the constant cultural repetition of these products. These products show up everywhere. It's like, I know I don't need to tell you guys this, but this is the basis of what we're talking about here, is that you can't go anywhere without seeing the golden arches. You can't go anywhere without seeing, a celebrity wearing a shoe or modeling a watch or wearing a certain kind of makeup or wearing a certain t-shirt or wearing a certain kind of underwear. And it's just over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So when it comes time for you to purchase those things, it's burned into your mind. Calvin Klein, Manolo Blahnik, fucking whatever it is, Starbucks. Boom, 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 everywhere you go. You can't drive from one place to another in this country without being advertised to, billboard after billboard. Need a lawyer? McDonald's 5 miles ahead, rest stop with a Wendy's in it. 5 miles ahead, Love's truck stop. 10 miles ahead, hey, make sure you stop 20 miles ahead. Here's all the restaurants, here's all the shit. Boom, boom, shopping, 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 shopping. Crazy. When I was a kid, they had us with the TV. You know, TV was a giant ad space, and then when cable came around, for very briefly, there was a time where like, oh my God, you could avoid ads, and they panicked. But then the internet came around, and then I don't need to tell you guys what advertising is like there. You live in it. You swim in it. We're in it now. A lot of you that are watching this later will probably get ads on this video. By the way, that I have nothing to do with. This channel has been on limited to no monetization forever. So somebody's making money on your clicks, but it ain't me. And I have no say on whether or not they put fucking ads on the goddamn video or not. Do you think the future will look like Blade Runner or Cyberpunk with the ubiquitous ads? I see no reason to think it won't. Look at some of the ads that they're making in fucking China. You know those 3D ads from fucking Back to the Future where Marty almost pisses his pants because he thinks Jaws 15 is going to eat him or whatever the fuck? They actually have those in China now. These giant freestanding holographic displays that are ads for different businesses and shit. They have whole buildings that are covered with LEDs in certain Chinese cities that can be configured into any kind of ad space that you want. Japan is the same way. Or at least some areas of Japan are the same way. And Paul, do you mind if I link the documentary that you recommended to me? I'd love to share it. Yeah, go ahead. Adam Curtis's 21st Century or the 20th Century of the South. It's on Netflix. It's also on YouTube for free if you don't have Netflix. So there you go. The year is 2045. If you want to make a deposit, you must turn on your Tesla brainwave chip to hear how you too can save big on Mars prison stocks. Well, I'm glad that you liked that, Doc, Phoebe. If you liked that one, keep chewing up the Adam Curtis because the themes remain the same. The deep dive is always different, but the theme of social control and mass manipulation of the populace remains the same all throughout Adam Curtis's works. So if the Century of the Self resonated with you, then all his other shit will resonate with you. Yeah, The Power of Nightmares is a fucking insane, eye-opening documentary. Gives you a look at the political history that kind of led to the current day and the current political climate, and how conservatism basically infiltrated and overturned our democratic systems and replaced them with this hyper-capitalist nightmare that we live in. The ads that are way louder than the TV shows I'm watching makes yeah. Didn't they pass a law against that? Guess that never got enforced, huh? Well, I mean, Adam Curtis is dismissed amongst like the big muckety muck thinkers and the status quo fucking defenders as a conspiracy nut and a guy that weaves fact and fiction. And he very well may do some of that in his fucking documentaries, but to dismiss the entirety of what he's saying is fucking absurd. He's not respected enough to be silenced. But that's good for us because that means we get to learn from him. The same thing is true for somebody like Derek Jensen. You know, if his message was something that was being blasted out to millions of people, he would have been dealt with a long time ago. He's beneath notice now. He's under the radar. Wrote some books, gave some talks. I mean, Adam Curtis, yeah, I listened to a little bit of the Chapo interview with him. I would love to talk to Adam Curtis, but he's an interesting guy and definitely has his finger on the fucking button. I don't think Derek Jensen would probably grant an interview, but yeah, I would do it for sure. He used to do interviews of other people, but typically environmentalists and people that ran environmentalist. You know, he was very focused in his deep green resistance interviews on people that were out there making news with environmental studies and running in different environmental groups and nonprofits and shit. I don't know that he would have time or be interested in just a fucking sit down conversation about the state of things. I get the feeling that he's probably sick of talking about the same thing a lot. When you watch his kind of infrequent but pretty regular vlogs, he doesn't touch a whole lot on N-Prim stuff. It's not like he's dancing around it. He does still do it, but I get the idea that he is suffering from a little bit of burnout when it comes to constantly hammering home the environmental message, and I don't fucking blame him. There's only so many times you can make the same argument. You can listen to Derek Jensen give his endgame talk in about 15 different ways if you look. I've listened to all of them because I'm a fanboy, and I like all the different nuance between them. But yeah, I think there's like something like 12 or 13 different versions of his endgame talk that you can find in various formats. And then, of course, it is a companion talk to his book. I mean, it is what it is, Squid. I mean, I don't know. I've come to peace with the idea that nothing's going to change. Not fundamentally. And I've come to peace with the idea that my role in that is to be opposed to it. And a lot of times that just means standing my ground philosophically. But a lot of times it means allowing those problems to encroach upon my personal life so that I can deliver my talks about those things with passion to you. I don't like fake passion. I don't like fake hype. But in order for me to really give you guys my unfiltered best of that, I have to let those things really mark me. And they do. And that's my struggle. Everybody's got their own. Everybody's got their own fucking personal struggle. Some people are locked in just the minutia of their own lives and never think about anything outside of them. Some people don't have the luxury of being able to. I feel privileged that I've had time in my life to sit back and think. One of the perks of being an introvert for you, yeah. Well, I guess one of the perks of being an ambivert for me. I didn't even know the term ambivert existed. I learned it on a Highdeology. I was sitting here trying fruitlessly to explain how I feel like sometimes I don't want to be around people and sometimes I feel like I have to. And then somebody was like, oh, you're an ambivert. I was like, oh, what's that? Went and looked it up. Oh, yeah, I am that. Okay. All right, cool. That makes sense. The individual is dead. Nah, man. The individual is alive and kicking. You just got to dig to find them. There's such a soup in this country of zombies and turned off brains. And it's not their fucking fault, man. Look at what we've been talking about for the last half hour. We were born in this melange of crazy ads and insane political opinions and lies, lies, lies. There's such a soup of sameness out there for you to dig through to find an original thinker or two, to find somebody who's at least willing to speak their fucking mind. It takes effort. You got to dig. You can't just give what you're served. You can't always look at the most popular thing, because the most popular thing has likely been filtered through a certain amount of that fucking shit. And if it isn't, it will be. You got to look underground. We used to have ways of doing this back in the 90s, and you're telling me you can't do it on the fucking internet? We used to have zines and shit. These like underground magazines that were based on special interest shit. Political zines, music zines for underground music shit, underground comic book shit. We gotta, you know what I mean? Network that shit again somehow. Carve out a space maybe for thinkers again. And for talkers and for people who are willing to sit down and engage. It doesn't exist anymore, guys. It's fucking half-ass. It's fucking barely there, and you gotta look. Zine is the most 90s term ever. Yeah, it might be. You got to fight against that, man. The pressure is immense. I will tell you this: if you are dedicated to being an outsider thinker in your life, and you don't have to be a fucking educated person to be that, if you're dedicated to thinking outside of what you think of as the box in your life, you will be under constant pressure, like you're fucking under a mile of ocean, from every fucking authority figure, every friend, every family member. They will hit you up and want you to fucking be part of that. And man, you got to be on guard all the goddamn motherfucking time to do it. Look, I'm fine with going along with the mass amount of people if they're right, but if they're wrong, they're wrong. And I'm defensive of that shit. I don't care who you are. I don't care what degree you have hanging up on your wall or how much fucking theory you've read. If you can't talk to me like a normal person and get the idea through to me in a way that sells, what chance have you got out there? Zero. There is an excuse for sheeple in the world. I just gave it you. There is. We live in a world that creates it. What did George Carlin say? What is the school system about? Obedient workers, good little worker bees, good little drones that'll show up to fucking work and not ask any questions. And if you want to pin them, if you want to pin all that shit on the people that are suffering and laboring under that delusion, then fuck you. What choice did they have? But if you ain't one of those people, fight every goddamn day to not be it. Because you're going to be pressured from every goddamn side. Commit yourself to being a social irritant if you're a leftist and you feel the way I do. Commit yourself to being something that's under the skin of everybody, even your friends. I don't want them comfortable and complacent politically or philosophically. I'm a piece of fucking sandpaper in your life. That's what I want to be. I want to braid you. Dedicate yourself to that shit and go out there and be that. And you'll be doing more than people that are advocating for the status quo just by the function of your existence. You know, don't go along to get along or whatever. Fuck that shit. Commit yourself to that. And don't listen to people who go like, "Oh, you're a fucking edgelord. Oh man, you think yourself is way more important." Just shut out all that bullshit. If it's not on topic, it's not worth it. If it's an argument against your fucking tone or the way you're delivering the argument, fuck it. Discard it. It's not worth your goddamn time. Definitely don't internalize that shit. Because that's how they get you. It's like peer pressure. They beat you down with this like, "Oh, you're just fucking ridiculous." Until you go like, all right. One of us, gooba gabba, gooba gabba. Fuck that shit. If somebody's got a problem with you and 90% of what comes out of their mouth is some critique on you, yourself, and not your argument, you know what you're dealing with. You're dealing with that radiating peer pressure, that crushing fucking social pressure that says conform, be this, think this way, go along with this person because they're smarter than you. Why? They sat through more classes than you? That's what makes a smart person in your fucking world? Trust yourself. Trust your own fucking instincts. Be your own person. Like those people that you're constantly being referenced to are.
I guarantee you they don't sit around and wring their hands about how much they are like this person or that person. They're referenced by other people because they're bold enough to go out and say something that those other people can't or won't. So be that. And I'm telling you, dude, like, don't let anybody tell you that what you're doing is fucking worthless. You can't be expected to fucking pick up a gun and go storm the fucking Capitol building yourself and institute a rational fucking government. You can't do it. So what can you do? Use your fucking voice. Use your mouth. Raise the alarm of the populace in any way that you can. You're talking to one person, you're talking to two persons. I don't give a fuck. I don't care. You're just doing it here. I don't care. Do it where you can do it. You're better off doing that than becoming somebody that's sold themselves fucking up the river for the status quo. I'll tell you that goddamn much. I don't know what the fix is for all this shit, but I do know that we need abrasive agents out there. People need to be reminded that it's not all fun and fucking games. Constantly on both sides of this. Honestly, Paul, this is Bleh. Then get the fuck out of here, bitch. Who asked you to swing from my fucking ball bag? Bitch. Vámonos. I found arguing this with friends is moving them more out of the political bubble and they start actually thinking instead of repeating, and I'm glad I did it. Well, keep doing it. Keep doing it and don't get fucking comfortable. You know what, dude? I don't want anybody comfortable right now. I don't want it. It's not that I want your life to be one of fucking toil and hardship, but I don't think we're at a place where any fucking thinking, feeling person can be comfortable. If you're silent in the face of what's going on right now, then you're complicit in my mind. So don't be complicit. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take it anymore. Yeah. Get some guts about you again. Some breath in your lungs. Do some hollering. Do some wailing for the fucking state of this goddamn world and let people hear it. Let people see it. Let people smell it every day of your life. Cooking it, stewing it. Let your freak flag fly, man. Be what you are. And say it. Tell people what you are. They ask you a question, say what answer honestly. How are you? Horrible. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Phoebes. I mean, it is what it is. 1 + 1 is 2, You telling me that's not meaningful, then I don't know what to tell you. Have you ever shared a banana with Dinor? A banana? No. I've never shared a banana with Dinor. Should I? Is that something I should be doing? Hold on there. I'm gonna go get myself another little drink. I'll be right back. Oh. Morpheus returns. Yeah. Well, these streams kept me sane during a bad depression, panic attack fueled time in my life. Thanks, man. Really helps me. Hearing you be more open helps me want to improve. I'm glad for that, man. I hope you keep feeling better, and I hope that you use that voice. Maybe that's what you're missing. Maybe that's at the core of some of your depression, at the very least, is this feeling of powerlessness and hopelessness and shit. I feel it every goddamn fucking day. The shit is hopeless and you are powerless, but you know what? You can choose to go down kicking and screaming, or you can choose to go down capitulating, I guess, right? I wasn't raised to be a capitulator. I'll tell you that much. Say what you want about my parents. They had their flaws. But they didn't raise a person to back down. They didn't raise a person to roll over. And, I'll be yelling until I can't. And that's all I can do. something else crops up that I can do, I'll do it. But in the meantime, can be here, can be on my show, can be in my personal life. Grew up in foster care, yeah. Well, I have no idea what that must have been like. I guess horrible. That would be my guess. Would be pretty fucking terrible most of the time. For my voice to be out, I will have to not be able to speak or type, you know, and even then, I know they can hook you up to some shit. I mean, if Stephen Hawking could talk to you, I could probably fucking talk to you. So, dead is what I'm saying. When I'm dead, I'll stop hollering. I'll consider piping down for a while. Maybe I won't, though. I don't know. One of you might make a pilgrimage to my grave sometime in the future and sit down at it and just hear me down there like, you motherfuckers. You know how shitty it is down here under the fucking ground? Actually, I won't be buried down there unless my wishes aren't followed. I've asked to be cremated, so you'll have to go to the ocean to hear that voice. Are they trying to shut Paul up again? No, he's trying to shut me up. Any certain reason you prefer cremation? I mean, it's very, very non-logical. It has nothing to do with logic. I don't like the idea of my body just like sitting and decomposing in a fucking box. It's just, I'd rather it just be burned into nothing and then, you know, sprinkled out somewhere that I loved. I don't know why. It makes no fucking sense. After I croak, it's not gonna fucking matter what happens to my body. I'm not gonna give a shit. I'm not gonna be here to give a shit, but for some reason. Yeah, I just don't like that idea. I want to be cremated and mixed with glitter and given as a glitter bomb to my enemies. Ooh, I like that. Cremation creeps you out? Well, there you go. Different strokes it takes. Different strokes it takes. Different strokes to rule the world. Did you guys know that you can be water cremated now? It takes 72 hours and then you can be decomposed. That's the one I want. Wow, cool. I'll have to look into it, man. You could do like the fucking tree burial or whatever, or the sky burial if you want to do that give back to nature thing. I mean, you know, I'd consider some of that shit too. I just don't. I hate the idea of being under the ground in a box, decomposing away, and just being a box of bones or whatever the fuck. I don't like that shit. So maybe just like a more natural burial I'd be cool with too. I don't know. Different strokes to move the world. Well, I haven't seen that show since I was a fucking little kid, so I used to think they were saying rule the world, you know. Creepy convo? What's a creepy convo? Oh, you're just talking about like what you want to do with your body is creepy to you? I mean, yeah, I guess. That's the cowboy method and the Native American method. Well, for a lot of tribes anyway, the sky burial. What I think of cryonics? I mean, nah, not for me. Go ahead if you want to, but I really don't want to. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be frozen or whatever. That doesn't sound good. I've always hoped that at some point I would have the money to start a funeral grove or grow those coffin trees that grow with your body as fertilizer and bury myself at the end of my life. That'd be cool. That'd be a good way to go, I guess. I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter in the end, like everything else. But, you know, we get to have our wishes or whatever carried out, and I guess it's important to me to pick something. First existential crisis I had was when I was 3 or 4, when I saw mummies on the TV. I was suddenly made aware of mortality, and I felt horrible. Yeah, I don't remember having a moment like that. Maybe it was, though, the zombie thing. Probably the first adult movie that I can remember watching, I was very fucking young when I watched it, was George Romero's Night of the Living Dead, the original 68 version, black and white, on VHS. My parents had it. And I learned how to pop tapes in. And mostly I was watching my tapes and shit. My parents would, they watched me and shit. But back in those days, you put your kid in front of the TV, you go clean the house or whatever. And I popped that fucking movie in. And that movie put a fear of death in me. So that was my moment, I guess. Because that movie was like, oh my God, those are... Because I knew dead people. Like, I knew people died. I was already aware at the age when I watched that. Whatever it was, probably 6 or 7 years old. Maybe even younger. I'd probably say 6. But, I'd had people die. I'd had a dog pass away. So I understood the idea, but then, seeing them come back and seeing them as corpses and shit, that was it, man. It's like, boom. Whoa. That's going to be me someday. They're going to fucking cut me open like that. They're going to put me in a box. Holy fuck. And then what if I come back like this? Oh, no. Pretty deep shit for, a young kid to be thinking about. That movie is actually called The Hand. Believe it or not. I'm pretty sure that's the movie you're talking about. I don't know that it was necessarily the one that I'm thinking of was meant to be comedic, but there's a movie called The Hand where a dude is basically he's rolling down the street and he's having a fight with his wife or something. He's in the passenger seat, or maybe he's in the driver's seat. He is in the driver's seat. Fight with his wife, and he's hanging his hand out the window, and a truck hits it and knocks his fucking hand off into the field, and they're not able to find it. But then his hand is out in the field and comes back to life and starts crawling its way back to town towards him and shit, and it starts killing people. And then I think the twist of the movie is you find out that it was him doing it all along. That losing his hand drove him insane or whatever the fuck. But that's Idle Hands. Is that the one that you're thinking of? I'm thinking of a way older movie, so it's probably Idle Hands, yeah. I recommend you watch The Hand, not Idle Hands. Go watch The Hand. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thanks for